Hi everyone, we are working on Module 11, the Dance Academy Independent Challenge 1, found on page 300. Go ahead and open the 11 Dance Academy Access Database, and you probably will have to enable the content. So there are three tables if you look over the far left in the Objects area. So you have Classes, Response to Questions, and Students. Double-click the table Classes, and there are only 6 records of information. We're going to double-click in the very first row, Tap Level 1, where the teacher name Jordan is, and double-click selects it and type your first and last name, enter, and then we'll click the save icon and close out of this table. Let's open the students table. And you'll see that there are 39 records of information, and the categories are slightly different. There is one that matches. Class ID was also in the classes. So what we want to do is first work with sorting. So click in any cell that has an age, doesn't matter where you are, and choose ascending order. So it'll put the youngest person first. And what you'll do is look over at the name, the first person's name at the youngest person, and we're going to type that in the response to questions table. So go ahead and double click that and sort by age in ascending order, and the person's name, we'll fill it in here. Enter. And then we'll go back to the students table, and we're going to remove that sort. Notice that it has age and there's an arrow meaning it's ascending order, and you can see up here it's in ascending order. We're going to remove the sort. Again, click in anyone's age, and you can choose descending, or if you click the down arrow in the age column, you can choose largest to smallest, which is also descending, and you'll see the arrow pointing down. So the oldest person, we're going to put that person's name in the response to questions. And go back to the students table, and now we'll remove the sort. So we have no sorting. It goes back to the original first person, Fred Black. So we're not in any sort. What we're going to do now is do a filter. We want to pull out just people that are age 25 or younger. So click the down arrow in the age column, and we're going to choose number filters less than, and we'll type in 25, and it says age is less than or equal to 25. Click OK. So now if you look at the ages, they're all under 25. How many records are there in this category? 14. So go back to response questions. There are 14 age 25 or younger. And then go back to students. So if you see in the column age, there's like a filter symbol, meaning it's been filtered. And then it also has that it's a toggle filter. That would cancel out the filter, so we won't click that. But we're going to do a second level of sorting. So we want to still have under 25, but we also want to see just the students that are intermediate. So if you click the dance level drop down, we're going to uncheck blank and beginner and then click OK. And all you have for an intermediate under the age of 25, another filter symbol, are 6 records. So go back to responses to question, and there are 6 that are in the intermediate under 25. So we'll go back to students, and what we'll do is click save and close out of this one. Yes, to save, and we'll close out of this one. So if I close without saving, it should ask me to save, but I already saved, so the responses are still there, which is fine. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, if we were to, you don't have to open this, but if I'm going to open up the students. So there's a lot of categories, and I don't want all those printed. I want just last name, first name, and the class ID. So how do I pull just those 3 columns out? What we'll do is called create a query wizard. It's a simple query wizard. Click OK. I want it from the table called students, and if you click here, you'll see the 3 tables that we have over here, but we want the one with students. Here are all the column categories. I want last name, so I'll click the chevron arrow, and it goes over here as selected field, or I can double click and it goes over, and then class ID. So that's the 3 I want. I do not need the student ID, address, city, state. Just those 3 are selected. Click next. I'll give it a name. It'll be students by class ID, and then finish. And you'll have last, first, and class ID, the same 39, but just 3 columns. And what we want to do is sort by last name. So if you click in any name in the last name column and go back to home, you could choose ascending. Ascending is A to Z. And you can see the arrow in the last name column. And then what we'll do with the first name that comes up is select it and type your name in place of it. And then we'll click save. At first click enter, then save. So you have your 39 records with the last name. It's in alphabetic order, except your name's first, first name and class ID. And then you realize, you know what, we really should have the dance level column here. So to do that, click the graphing ruler and pencil, and it takes you to design view. And these are all the headings, the column headings. If you want to see all of them, use your double arrows and drag down. Here's our last name, first name, class name. We really should have dance level. All you have to do is double click and it goes in there. But in the dance level, I really only want to see, so I'm going to click under, it's in the 4th row. It's called criteria, and I'm going to type equals beginner. I only want to see the beginners. And then by class ID number, on the 3rd row, it's sort. Click that, and then you get the arrow, and you want it in ascending order. So you want the class ID in ascending order, lowest to highest, and only the beginners. So go ahead and choose run. And then there are only 22 records here that are beginners. So the original query was students by class ID, and because I want to change this and save it, I'm going to choose File, Save As, make sure it's object, because that one query is an object, and then Save As, and we're just going to change the name, and we don't need copy of, but class ID beginners. And then OK. And then it comes over here. So we have our original class by ID number with the 39, and we have the beginner that only has 22. So let's close out of both of these. And the next thing we're going to do is create a relationship, because we want to take information from the classes table and information from the students table. So in order to create a relationship, you have to open up both tables. To do that, choose Database Tools, choose Relationship, and we want to open Classes. So Classes is in blue, it's selected. Just click Add. Then I'll go to Students, select that, and click Add and Close. And sometimes you can't see all of the information, so if you hover to have your double arrows, you can make it wider. Now looking at both tables, what column heading is the same in both? And it's class ID. So that's, you can only make a connection between two tables if they have a common column title. So hover over class ID, with the left mouse, hold and drag to the other class ID and then let go. If you did it correctly, it'll come up the table classes, class ID column, the table student, class ID, they match. Click Enforce Referential Integrity and choose Create, and you made the connection between the two. The drawing the line from class ID from classes to students matches. Click the floppy Save and then Close. Now before we create a wizard report on those two, information from those two tables, let's go back to open the classes table, and what we want to do is create another column category where we're actually going to take the number of classes times the fee, and Access does have a calculating feature in it. Click the down arrow for click to add, choose calculated field, and then choose currency. And in here, because we're working with the classes table, it lists all the existing categories, and we are going to double click number of classes. The times symbol is that asterisk, so times the fee per classes. So it's going to, by you putting the column names, it'll calculate by the multiplying for us. Click OK, and then it's calculated for us. The column heading is now selected, so I'm going to type in fee per student and press enter. So we'll save and close out of here. The next thing we'll do is choose Create, and we're going to choose Query Design. And again, we're taking from the classes, so you can either click Add, or when you click Students, you can just double click and it puts it there. And then we'll close out of here. Again, make the column larger so you can see everything. There's your connection between the two tables. So the first thing we want in the very first column of this query is first name. So double click first name, and it shows up in your design table. Layout, last name, class, that's over here in the classes table, and then teacher, and you want day and time, and then studio, and one more, fee per student. We are going to set one criteria in the column labeled class. So click underneath the check mark, and the criteria is equals tap space dash level 1. And then to see what appears, click run. And they should be all your teacher name, because it was tap level 1. There are only 8 records. If it's chopping off your name, you could hover on the boundary between both columns and double click so you can see all of it. And we are going to give this a name, so we're going to click the Save Floppy, and the name of this query is Tap Level 1 Schedule and Fees. And save. So you have 3 tables and 3 queries. So we'll close out of here. Now to save the entire Access database, click File, Save As. Make sure it's a database, the entire thing. Save As. You can keep it the same name, and submit. Thank you.